Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside and a very cool, brisk May morning here in North Carolina. Jerry and I are out here on the patio. First thing in the morning, we're trying to beat the sun and beat the clock and knock out a very fun project here on the patio. What we are going to be doing is planting the flower beds here on our raised beds that surround the patio. When we installed the patio a couple of years ago, I wanted to have flower beds here that surround the two sides of the patio. And so we have these raised beds that are pulled back, of course, by the stone. And we have beautiful shrubs and all sorts of great things in here. So we like to come in the spring and add in our annual color. Because it is on the patio and we really only use this patio in the late afternoon, night in the summertime, just because it's incredibly hot. I like to keep very light colors, so when the landscape lighting is on, these colors reflect and just is very peaceful and serene. So what we're going to do today is we're going to plant some fantastic annuals. Of course, we have got the Catalina white linen Tyrannia. This is a wonderful shade to sun, very nice low ground cover type plant. If you put it in a container, it will trail. This is going to go right here underneath the David Austins and the blue chiffon rose of Sharon. So we're going to fill in that whole bed underneath the roses with the Catalina white linen. And then we're going to keep it really simple. As we go throughout these two beds, we are going to plant the very front edge with the Supertunia Mini Vista White. And so the reason I'm using Mini Vista White instead of, say, Snowdrift is because while I do want these to get full and trail, I don't want them to be as vigorous as Snowdrift. I don't want them completely cascading over the wall, right? So when we have people here, we have gatherings, the kids, we either sit on this wall or the kids will sometimes walk on the wall. So I don't want it spilling over. I just want it to fill in and just kind of come over just a little bit on the edge and just kiss the edge. That's why I'm using the Mini Vista White. If you need really big impact, then go with Snowdrift. So we're going to have those all along both of the edges, and then in the back we are going to use Sun Patience. This is blush pink, a very nice, soft, beautiful pink Sun Patient. It absolutely can take the full sun. We'll get some nice height in the back. So these are going to go in the back of the bed between the Boxwoods and the camellias. And I'm going to do a little kind of end cap behind the gardenias close to the steps. Now, we've got to do a little prep work before we can actually start planting. One, I have Jerry with me, and so he is going to come along and trim up the boxwoods, and he's going to teach you, show you how to go ahead and prune your sprinter boxwoods. We prune them once a year, and this is the time of year where we prune them because they have just put on some rapid growth here in the spring. And when you look a little bit closer to them, because we've gotten such massive amounts of rain, all that new foliage on the top, and then the rain comes down, they start to open up a little bit. So that is a cue that you need to get in there and prune them. So he's going to prune them for us, and he's going to talk about that. And then because these flower beds, we do put annuals in here. You know, when you plant annuals or anything, and then the end of the season when you pull them out, inevitably you're going to lose some soil. So this will be the third year I think these beds have been here, and we've never really added a bunch of soil back into the beds. So they're starting to get a little low, especially in the front. So we're going to come along with the black gold raised bed mix and really fill in and build up the soil, because it, like I said, it's getting too low, so we need to add to it. And that raised bed mix is fantastic because you can plant directly into it. So we're going to fill it back up with some great nutritious soil and then knock this project out before the sun hits too hard. So what we're going to do first is trim the boxwoods and get that raised bed mixed into the beds.
All right guys, we're going to take a look at these sprinter boxwoods, and then I'm just kind of looking at the boxwood itself and the shape per se that I have. And I'm going to try to keep it wider at the bottom and more narrow at the top. I mean, some folks can do different things. You'll see them box them off and take their hedge trimmers and box them off, and you know, that just just really looks ugly in what I'm considering. So I'm going to start maybe down this way and work my way with my hedge trimmers. I'm just going to use this today because we're trying to knock it out. You can use like a Felco clippers, you know, or anything like that that you want to use, but just kind of start here, and I'm just going to So, I mean, you can see it's getting a little bushier down at the bottom. I'm trying to keep that and keep it a little more narrow at the top. We'll see. I just want to kind of keep working it. I mean, this boxwood, I mean, it really prefers to be, I think, kept at, you know, 2 foot or below, just because of its prone to want to open up and flop when it grows new growth. But I'm just trying to keep it, of course, like I said, narrow at the top, a little wider at the bottom. The hedge trimmers really help with that and trying to keep the shape because it's got the long blades on there than if you were using them. I may come back later with the clippers and just kind of clean up some edges and here and there, but I'm going to go ahead and knock out the other 3 or 4 of them, okay?
All right, my friends, so we got the boxwoods all shaped up. Now, you might be looking at them and going, y'all, those are like little meatballs. Yes, at this exact moment, they kind of look like that, but remember, we prune them 1 time a year. Very soon, they're gonna flush out with new growth and get a nice, softer shape to them. But this is how we just pruned them, and you definitely with your boxwoods, like Jerry did, wider on the bottom, more narrow on the top. That way the sun can get all the way around that boxwood and you don't end up with like dead spots, empty spots, lacking green. So they are done, got it all cleaned up. And what Jerry's doing now is bringing out the raised bed mix. So we're gonna open them up and fill in these beds because there's a good, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches between the soil level and then the top of the stone. Not that we want to bring it like crazy high, but we definitely need to build it up. So we're going to get that laid out, and then before we start planting, I'm going to throw in some biotone fertilizer. I'm just going to sprinkle it down, and then also the Proven Winners, the continuous release plant food, because we are putting petunias in here, right? Super petunias, and super petunias are very heavy feeders. Impatiens, not so much. Your petunias, absolutely, they need lots of food. So they're going to get food from this great raised bed mix because it has compost, it has earthworm castings. So we're building up the environment of our soil. We're giving them a great starter fertilizer with the biotone, get nice, strong, healthy roots, a shot of food, and then of course the Proven Winners continuous release. The continuous release is released by temperature. So the warmer it gets, the faster it releases the food. This is a great way to fill in the gaps if I miss my water-soluble fertilizer. With your super petunias, because they are such vigorous bloomers, we're gonna have to have them on a regular schedule of using the Proven Winners water-soluble fertilizer. It keeps them nice dark green and those flowers just blooming like crazy. That is what we want. We want flower power, a solid wall of beautiful white petunias right here on the edge, and then the Impatiens in the back with their nice soft pink. Again, the Impatiens don't need a whole lot of food. I am going to put down the slow release, but when I do my water soluble, I will not fertilize them with that nearly as much. And then the Tyrannia, of course, goes down there. So we're just going to do some bed prep. And then we'll start planting. we've got everything spread out, the soil, the biotone, the continuous release fertilizer. And so I'm just beginning to place the Catalina white linen Terrenia. Again, this is going to be, it's not going to be very tall. It's going to spread out, and it's going to give me a beautiful ground cover, fill in this area that helps keep the weeds away, and then it will come and trail over just a little bit on the wall right here. And so you'll notice, because I know that people are going to say, why do you have a Proven Winners in a brown cup? We've talked about this on other videos, is that we ordered these plants specifically for this project, and when Jerry and I were potting them up this winter, we ran out of Proven Winner pots, and these are not for retail sale. These are for our use only here at the house and the nursery. And so that is why some of them, not all of them, are in the brown cups. So everything's on the up and up on that. The great thing about this raised bed mix is you can plant directly in it. Like obviously I'm just pulling with my hands and creating a hole. This bed I had in the fall gone ahead and top dressed this whole bed with land and sea. So I've got the raised bed mix, and then underneath that is the land and sea compost. So we've got just really wonderful, nutrient-rich soil that these babies are going to be growing in, and it is not the traditional hard, compact red clay that Jenny has to deal with out in the other flower beds. So we're just going to get in here and get these babies planted. I am planting them rather close together because I want that full coverage, right? So if you want the full coverage, you plant your plants closer. If you want to see the individual plants, obviously you're going to spread them out further. In these flower beds, we do have lighting wires, so we've just got to be a little bit aware of that. We're not using any machinery, like I said, just our hands. And I try to keep the lighting wire on top of the beds and not get buried down in there. So that way we can easily find them, move them out of the way, plant, and then put them back and cover them back up with some, top dress or whatever. So we're just going to keep planting. Jerry's going to open up some bags and get that raised bed mix spread out throughout the other beds. And then we're going to come back, of course, and put in the Super Tunia Mini Vista White and the Sun Patience Blush Pink. All right, my friends, so the project is just rocking and rolling here. We are making great progress in the sun. We're doing good so far. Now, what I did in the back with that blush pink Sun Patient is I went ahead and put two and planted them together. And I did put them pretty far back, pretty close to the foundation, because I know that my sprinters are going to grow and my camellias already have beautiful, lots of new growth on them. So my shrubs are going to grow, and knowing how this bed has done the past 2 years, I would try to, in the past, bring those plants a little bit too far forward and they would just interfere with the shrubs. So last year I said, Jenny, when you plant it this year, put them further back. So that is what I did. I planted 2, like I said, in one hole. That is going to give me a bigger impact. And so I want these to be nice and tall, because the sun patients will get tall. They'll just kind of kiss the bottom of the porch and fill in and be beautiful flowers on that. And then we came through on the front. I have just placed the Supertunia Mini Vista Whites. We've not planted them yet. And I planted them, or put them rather, pretty close together. They are about not quite a foot apart from each other. And I really did it halfway between the shrub and the wall, right? And so we're just going to plop these in. That, again, that is the great thing about this raised bed mix, is you can plant directly in it. So I can just easily with my hands pull that soil back and plop them in, and they are good to go. The slow release fertilizer's in there, the biotone's in there. And then when we get done with this, I believe we're going to come through and top dress with some land and sea compost. That is just a really nice way to dress the bed, finish the bed out instead of using mulch. We absolutely could use mulch, but the land and sea is in a bag, so it's a lot easier to get up here on the patio. And then 2, it is a compost. So again, more nutrition into the soil, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with using mulch. This time we're just choosing to use the land and sea. And because we have such great with that raised bed mix, it's just really going to be a nice little top dress. It's not going to be super thick. So we're going to get these in the ground. Jerry is going to, I think I'm going to go ahead and place the other Supertunias on the other bed, and then he can be planting those and I can be planting these, and then we top dress and we're done. All right, my friends, so the project is 95% complete, because we've gotten all the beautiful raised bed mixed in here, all the great fertilizer, the plants are completely planted, and it looks fantastic. What we have left to do is I'm going to go ahead, the nursery is open today, so he's going to go over there and kind of assist customers and make sure everything's ready for them. I'm going to hang out over here and finish putting just top dress with the land and sea. Because like back here on where the roses and the boxwoods, we did not plant the sun patients back here, because I know how vigorous these roses get. And by July and August, it's going to really be kind of too much and smother. And I need my roses to be able to breathe, so that prevents the powdery mildew and the black spot. It helps with that. And if I put the sun patients back here, it's just going to get way too full. So I'm going to come in and just top dress, get everything cleaned up. This is where I was telling Jerry, this is where I like to enjoy the process of just being in here and fine tuning everything. Put that land and sea down, make sure it's all nice and smooth and very pretty, and then come back through and water. Yes, we have irrigation in these beds. We're not supposed to get any rain until a couple of days from now, and I just want to get everybody nice and well watered in. There's a hose right here, and so get everybody a good drink of water and be very happy. And then at that point, this bed is completely done. Like, we will be 100% finished with this bed. The only thing that we have left to do in this area is, when the time comes, and I don't know when that time is going to be, is that we will replant the western urns that are on the side of the seating wall. And so right now they are rocking and they look great. They have that sprinter boxwood in the middle, and then the campfire marshmallow bidens around them, and they look beautiful. So right now there's no plans to change it. If things, change or we need to, then we can fix that later. But we are really excited to have this done. It just makes me happy. I mean, scepter to aisle right here, could she be any more beautiful? I don't think so. And the clematises are in there and they are growing. And then one on the very end, she is the most vigorous. She is the happiest and has some buds on her. So I cannot wait till she opens up. But it feels really good to have this project done. I will say from past experiences, the faster you can get your super petunias in the ground, get your annuals in the ground as soon as you can in the spring. If you don't have moment irrigation or they need to be more hands off from you, the earlier you can get them in the ground, the better, because their roots get established before the real heat of the summer hits, and that is a really good thing. It is, like this morning, it was like 41 degrees, but super petunias can handle it, and the impatiens didn't wilt at all. So they can handle these cooler temperatures. We're having an unseasonably cool start to May, but it all works out really well. So stay tuned, because even though Jerry is leaving, I'm going to kind of just give you a little behind the scenes of what I am doing here and give you that final view of the whole entire flower bed. Yes, and Jerry just said he's going to try to get some drone shots tonight, so that way we can show you everything and how the whole place ties together. We've been blessed with some gorgeous Carolina blue skies, so it'll make beautiful drone footage for tonight. So stay tuned for a little behind the scenes and wrapping up the video. As always, we so appreciate you. We hope you have found this fun and informative and inspirational. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.